The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Paying for better. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet. Promo code SGPN. When you do sign up, you get a free Refs Terrorist t-shirt. Claim your shirt at sportsgambling.com/refs. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Game Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It is currently Friday night, June 13th, around 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Rosso Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the matches taking place on Saturday, the semifinals in Stuttgart and in Den Bosch. Going to break down all four matches in a second. For that, though, a reminder to help support the show, but like, subscribe on YouTube, and a reminder to also leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple. Finally crossed 1K subscribers on YouTube, so thank you once again. But a reminder, we still are trying to grow the podcast. So either way, please subscribe if you're new. Hopefully enjoy the content. Once again, all the picks are free. Every day I keep seeing even worse picks from Dub Club people that sell picks. Everything's free on this channel. Hopefully you enjoy it. But once again, leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Plus, a reminder, check out the merch store because we have a lot of great Tennis Game Podcast merch on the SGPN merch store. We have sweatshirts, t-shirts, and mugs, high quality, very affordable, different colors as well. So check that out. Plus, a reminder, we have an app which allows you to find all of the SGPN podcasts and picks free, once again, in one easy location. Check out the free SGPN app for picks and podcasts on the Stanley Cup, College Baseball World Series, NBA Finals, everything, you name it, available on the SGPN app. Get whatever you do, get your apps. Moving on, though, to the actual recap of what happened in the quarterfinals on Friday. Starting off with the Lock and Dog picks. Had a nice win for the Lock, really never in doubt. Had Diallo team total over 12.5 at -114. Thought he had a shot to win the match. He did in straight sets, but Diallo, we thought, would end up winning a competitive set, probably 7-5 or 7-6 in there. He did, won the first set 7-6, that eventually did win the second set as well. So nice win there as he finished with 13. Really never in doubt. Once he got to 7 in the first set, we had 2 sets to work with for 6 combined games. We got there easily, so nice win there. For the dog, an annoying loss. We had Lajal moneyline at +116. I still like the bet. He lost in 2 tie breaks. At the end of the day, Lajal had chances. He was up a break serving for the first set, choked it, then had 4 break points in the 5-5 game, did not convert, lost in a breaker, and then eventually did fall behind a break early in the second set, fought back, lost in a breaker anyway. The return position for Lajal, especially the second serve return position, was just horrendous. And it felt like watching another guy with talent with no tennis IQ. So either way, Lajal had chances. Bergs did not play particularly well. He had some spurts where he looked really good. The first serve, though, was not great, but Lajal just kept hitting second serve returns into the net or long because he wouldn't adjust his actual standing position for the returning, which was insanely dumb. He I think at some point late in the second set, he dropped 5 straight second serve return points just by not even hitting the return in play. 5 straight. He kept trying to step into the second serve return, jammed himself every time, and just punted the ball out of play. So not exactly the highest tennis IQ for Lajal, and that costed him as he lost in 2 tie breaks. So either way, picked up a split for the Lock and Dog plays. For the matchups, though, that we saw on Friday. Starting off with the Den Bosch matches, we saw Humbert beat Borges in straight sets. Called that one. Borges not exactly a great grass player. Thought Humbert would look good. Diallo we thought would beat Kashanov as a dog. He did. Also got the team total right on that one. Opelka, though, did beat Medvedev in an upset we did not call. Classic Medvedev, losing in 2 tie breaks where he double faulted 3 straight service points in the breaker to lose the match. So shout out to Medvedev for still being an idiot. He hasn't learned anything over the last couple of years. It's why we don't bet on him ever on the show anymore. But the point is, he was actually in a good spot. He was up 4-1 in the second set breaker, fell apart, lost, I believe it was 4 straight points. And at that point, he just couldn't stop double faulting. So Medvedev had a golden chance to force a third set, then completely unraveled, and you saw Opelka win in straight sets. Overall, a nice season for Opelka. When you look at the actual wins, he's beaten Medvedev and Joker in straight sets in the same season, and it's only June. So nice job by Opelka. He's battled some injuries. He's looked pretty good so far this year. I know that there have been some injuries along the way, but the point is he ended up making it to the semis in this event. Happy for him. We'll see how he does in the semis on Saturday. And Bergs ended up beating Lajal in 2 tiebreaks as well. So the final 2 matches featured all breakers, but you ended up seeing no 3-setters on the entire card, actually, in Den Bosch and in Stuttgart. Everything was decided in straight sets. Now, moving on to Stuttgart, you had Felix beating Engel. We actually called the exact score of the match, We called 7663 on the podcast, and it was exactly 7663. I don't know the price on that, but if you ended up backing that for some reason, you made some money. But we thought Felix would win a competitive first set. Thought eventually Angle would unravel. He did. Good for the 17-year-old, though. He looks good. Just Felix is better, and he had 18 aces in the match. So Felix served out of his mind, and you ended up seeing Angle do okay, but not well enough to hang in there against a guy serving that well. First speed Fuchsovics got this one wrong. I thought Fuchsovics would be competitive. I think we were expecting 3 sets here. Didn't get there as Fritz was too good. Zverev, though, beat Nakashima kind of the way that I thought it would go, but not exactly. Thought Nakashima would be competitive. He was. Unfortunately, he did not win a set as he lost 7-5, 6-4. And Shelton, we got right. Thought he would end up beating Leheshka. Thought the dog price was really just a good value play for Shelton. And he dominated. He won 6-4, 6-4. He served out of his damn mind in that match. Looking at the actual numbers for Shelton, he ended up landing 64% of his first serves. He had 18 aces. So out of the 28 first serves that he made, he won 28 points. He won 100% of his first serve points. If he hit a first serve in play, he won the point. 28 for 28. Leheshka had nothing for his serve. And on top of that, you also saw Shelton win 75% of the second serve points. So in the entire match, Shelton lost a grand total of 4 points on serve. 4 in the entire match. He turned into Karlovic, basically, and you saw just one-way traffic because Leheshka couldn't even threaten. No break points, obviously, for Leheshka, and eventually double faulted the match away in the second set. Looked like we were potentially heading for a breaker, didn't get it as Leheshka double faulted a couple times in the final breaker, in the final set, including the match point. But Shelton, if he serves that well, which sounds almost impossible, but if he serves near that, I think he's winning the event. I just don't know how you're supposed to beat a guy who's serving that well. So we'll see if Shelton can piece it together against Zverev in the semis. If he does, good for him. He's in the top 10 officially because Medvedev did lose. So Shelton is the brand new member of the top 10. Congratulations to him. But the serving was really just on full display. He was out of his mind. I thought he was the best player on any of the courts yesterday because when you end up winning 100% of your first serve points, it's going to be tough to beat. So shout out to Shelton for really just dominating what was a very tough matchup, and he was able to win in straight sets. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the recap of the quarters. Not much else to add because every match ended in straight sets, so I really just don't have anything else to add to the, I'd say, breakdowns. I think you're just looking at, once again, a pretty entertaining collection of matches for the semis with really no Cinderellas at all. You have a couple in Den Bosch. You have, but for the most part, Stuttgart was completely chalk. You have Zverev and Shelton. You have Felix and Fritz. Diallo against Humbert could be interesting. And you have Opelka against Borges, which is really the Cinderella because Opelka was a lucky loser after losing to Lejal in qualifying. But either way, point is a pretty entertaining collection of matches that we have on the card. A decent, I'd say, balance between chalk and high-quality, high-seeded players and Cinderellas. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Anyway, I see Rex mentioning that Opelka had 22-plus aces. He was great, too. Don't get me wrong. And yes, dominating on serve against Medvedev is also very impressive. But it really felt like Medvedev just handed the match over, where Medvedev had the breaker under control. He was up 4-1. Double faulting on 3 straight service points to lose the breaker as a massive favorite in the match is honestly insane. So yes, Opelka was really good, fought off a couple break points, and it was a great win, don't get me wrong, because Medvedev is a very solid player. But it felt like Medvedev at the end just completely self-destructed and just handed the match over to Opelka. So yes, he was great too. Opelka counts because, once again, he was able to limit the return game of Medvedev, which is a very solid, I'd say, returner, who's a solid returner, but either way, Opelka got the job done. Shelton, though, I thought was the best player on the court yesterday, and we'll see if he can keep it rolling here in this one. But that service display will be very tough to duplicate, and Zverev's a better returner than Leheshka. But Leheshka is still a solid player. He ran into basically Pete Sampras, and he lost. So it is what it is. Anyway, time to move on into the actual matchups for Saturday. Before we get into that, the reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, ADVERTISE, the first ever bank of bettors, ensuring that all your transactions are approved. No uses, fees, no minimums. Catch records as well. 100% approval. For opening deposits on today at ADVERTISE.bet. When you do so, use the promo code SGPN. And also, if you sign up, get a free Rest of Terrorist t-shirt. Go to sportscampus.com/refs to claim your free shirt. We're also brought to you by Circa because they're still doing the Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway because they are giving away a 12-person league experience to draft in Vegas. Be sure to get VIPs for your stay. You'll get a limo ride from the airport, 5K tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. So once again, check out the contest for free. Also, get 15% off everything for the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. Enter the contest, though, at sportsgamblers.com/Circa. Free to enter. That's sportsgamblers.com/Circa to enter the free fantasy football contest. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through the recap of the quarters. Time to move on into the semis. Going to start off in Stuttgart. Matches starting at around 6 a.m. in Stuttgart. And Den Bosch, it's 8:30. So about a 2.5-hour gap there between the Stuttgart and Den Bosch start times for the matches. For Stuttgart, starting off with the first matchup, you have Fritz against Felix. Fritz is minus 160. You have Fritz as, I'd say, a bigger favorite than expected, but I guess I understand it. Felix is plus 140. For the spread, minus 1.5 for Fritz. You have plus 1.5 for Felix. The over-under is at around 25.5 or 24.5. For the over-under in sets, over 2.5 sets is plus 128. So you're shopping around there. You could find plus 130 if you look hard enough. For the set spread, though, you have Felix in straight sets at around plus 290. You have Fritz in straight sets at plus 153. Head-to-head has been very close. In fact, every meeting in their head-to-head has not ended in straight sets. 3 meetings, one of them was last year, the other were in 2022, but none of them were on grass. They were all on hard court, but every meeting ended up going to a deciding set. So you have seen some pretty close battles between them, and Fritz is actually 2-1, but Felix won the most recent meeting, the United Cup, in December of 2024. So basically this year, it was one of the final days of December of 2024, but still. Point is, though, for both guys, they've been really good. Saw Fritz beat Hallis in straight sets, beat Fuchsovics in straight sets. He's looked good so far in the event. Felix, though, has been good as well. Beat Perricard in straight sets. No breakers, so he returned very well in that match. And beat Engel. Breaker in there. Engel's a bit of a weird player to face because, yes, he's a teenager. He's also very good, and he's German. So the crowd's is going to be against you for the entire match. But he handled it well, got the job done there in straight sets, and served very well in the matchup. Now, for the form of both guys, do I think 160 sounds right for Fritz? I think the argument would be it might sound a bit steep. I would probably have Fritz in the 135 range, 140. I think 160 feels large. So based on that, I think there's value on Felix for that number. He's also the most recent winner, if you want to use that as an argument as well. But I do think for the matchup itself, I like the over. I see a close battle. Think you might get a breaker in there, maybe a 3-setter. Both guys we know are head cases, and they can go from really good to really bad at the drop of a hat. So based on that, I see both guys having a pretty tough go of it in terms of competitiveness. Think it'll be a very back-and-forth matchup. Think it will go the distance. I see it going 3 sets. If you want to bet on a final set breaker for a very unique prop there on Bet365, I don't hate it. I see it going distance here. I like the over. I like the over 2.5 sets. I think it's going to be a close battle. So for the value, give me Felix, but I will go with the over as a main thought for that one. Moving on to the next matchup, you have Opelka against Bergs. So kind of a weird semifinal matchup here, but it should be fun nonetheless. For the matchup, though, sorry, my bad. That's the wrong tournament. My bad. I use Zverev against Shelton. So for this one, the reason why I got confused is they're about the same price. So my bad on that one. Before the actual matchups, Zverev's at minus 170. Shelton is plus 147. For the spread, minus 1.5 for Zverev, plus 1.5 for Shelton. The over-under is set at 25.5. For the set spread, Zverev in straight sets is plus 132. You have Shelton to win a set at minus 170. Shelton in straight sets is plus 313. The over 2.5 sets is plus 135. Now, they faced off, actually, in the final of a clay event in Munich a couple of months ago, and you saw Zverev win comfortably 6-2, 6-4. But you saw Zverev beat Shelton in Cincinnati last year. Fast courts came down to the wire. Zverev did win 7-5 in the final set. So that is a decent comp for the courts here in Stuttgart. I know grass is different than hard court, but Cincinnati played very fast last year, and it was a marathon. I think it's going to be close. You saw Shelton beat Herbert in straight sets and beat Lehechka in straight sets. As for Zverev, he beat Moutet, fought off a set point, though, in the second set, and ended up beating Nakashima in straight sets. They are competitive, though. I think I like the over in this one. I would make an argument for Shelton moneyline. If you do think Shelton's serve can somewhat even resemble what he did on Friday, he can win this. I think that Zverev's a guy who we know can definitely fumble the bag, and we know that Zverev's a guy who can really choke away key opportunities, and he's been really bad over the last couple events he's been in, where I think there are some expectations on him. I just feel like Zverev's a guy who can once again have some moments or flashes in these 250s or 500s, but he tends to, I'd say, underachieve expectations, or at least recently for the last couple of years. This would be the match based on what we've seen from him over the last couple of months that he would randomly drop. And I think that Shelton can actually get the job done here. I like the over, maybe the over in sets. Team totals, if you want to go for a same game parlay for the team totals, I don't mind them. I mean, Zverev's at 13.5, but if it goes to 3 sets, you're probably good. Shelton's at around 12.5 or 13. If it goes to 3 sets, you're good. So you might end up seeing a bunch of great serving here in this matchup. Don't mind the over for the team totals for both guys. You get a 3-setter. You might get a good juiced way of getting the 3 sets with the team total same game parlay for that one. Moving on to the next matchup in Den Bosch. Moving on here to once again the first matchup. You have Diallo against Humbert. So once again we have chalk in Stuttgart. We have some Cinderellas here in Den Bosch for a nice balance. You have Humbert, decent favorite though at around minus 200 for this one. I see 185 though shopping around. Diallo is at plus 160. For the spread, I see minus 2.5 for Humbert, plus 2.5 for Diallo. The over-under in games at 23.5. For the set spread, I see Humbert in straight sets at plus 150. Diallo in straight sets at around plus 327. For the over 2.5 sets, I see around plus 125 or plus 130. Never faced off before. Diallo, though, has been very good. Ended up beating the likes of Thompson in 3 sets. He also beat Vukic in the first round in straight sets and beat Kashanov in straight sets too. So you could argue that his competition has not been great, but it's been good enough. Vukic has been in really bad form lately, but still a pretty dangerous grass player. We know that Diallo has a great serve, can volley as well, has better hands at the net than I thought he had entering the event. Guy can volley. I had a couple of big volleys there against Kashanov in that second set, but he was able to beat Thompson. Probably should have lost the match as he fought off a couple of match points, but got the job done there, and then beat Kashanov in straight sets. For Humbert, had a weak draw as well. Had a bye, then Evans, who's been really bad for the last year. Can be dangerous on grass, but still not exactly the same form he used to be in. And he beat Borges, who had a walkover in the previous round, but I don't think he's that good. So Borges, I think, is fine. Not a great grass player, and we picked Humbert to win the event. So we kind of already have action on this matchup indirectly. But I do think for the matchup itself, 185 does feel kind of massive. Diallo's been serving very well. I think it'll be a close match here. You know, we ended up cashing Diallo team total over 12.5 in the matchup against Kashanov. I don't mind running that back. It's at minus 115. I think that Humbert, even if he wins, it will not be in straight sets. I think that Diallo is good enough at serving and volleying to keep Humbert off balance. Humbert has a very tricky lefty serve because he can do the very insane slice serve out wide, which kind of just carries you off the court. But I think Diallo, with his overall firepower and his net skills, can shorten points. And I do think that Kashanov, who's a good returner, struggled for a decent portion of the match converting big opportunities. I think Humbert can find openings in this matchup, and maybe he wins in 3. But I see it being close. I see Rex mentioned in the first set over 10 games. I don't know the price on that. I think you probably get a 6-4, maybe a 7-5 there in the first set. So I think you might want to consider that as an option. But I think for the sake of this matchup, I'll go with the dog for the value. I think 185 is kind of steep. Humbert might win. Maybe you want to bet on Humbert exact outcome 2-1 for sets. But I think the team total for Diallo makes sense, similarly to how we argued for the Kashanov match. Diallo can get there in a couple of ways. If he wins with a tiebreaker 7-5, you're in good shape. He can win a 3-setter. You get there basically automatically, or he loses a competitive 3. I see all 3 outcomes being a possibility here. Give me, of course, the hopeful outcome, at least for me, is Humbert winning, which is once again going to take us one step closer to an outright. But I think that Diallo can pull this off. 160 feels kind of, I'd say, generous for a guy that's serving very well and a guy that can serve very well too. So for this one, I'm going to go with Diallo for the value. Give me the team total over for Diallo, 12.5 as a main thought for that one. Moving on to the next matchup, you have the matchup between Opelka and Bergs. Now, Opelka has had a good run here so far, as Opelka ended up making it out of the lucky loser miracle, I'd say, second life draw because he lost to Lajal and then got an opportunity. Beat De Jong in 3 sets, beat Jari in straight sets, and beat Medvedev in breakers. So far, we know Opelka's been a tiebreak machine. He always is because he can't return to save his life, and the serve's very good. But either way, he has played 7 sets here, and so far 5 of the 7 have gone to a tiebreak. For Bergs, though, he has been battling. It has not been easy. Went 3 sets against Blocks, final set breaker. Went 3 sets against Pyron, 3-set breaker, and then went 2 sets against Lejal. Both sets went to breakers. So you're doing the math at home. That does mean that 5 of the last 6 sets. Just doing the math quickly here. 1, 4, so 5 of the last 6 sets for Bergs have also went to breakers. I like the over in this one. 24.5, 23.5. I see a breaker to different styles of play. The thing is, Bergs is not serving well, but he's rallying quite well. I feel like he does a good job of prolonging points, keeps balls in play, does not really go for broke a lot. And I do think the consistency will help wear down Opelka over these long rallies. Medvedev went to 2 breakers, fell apart in the tie breaks, but Opelka is going to try to serve bombs. He probably will succeed in that area, and I think you're looking at Bergs, who will try to out-rally Opelka in the match itself. Different styles, I think it should be fun. Give me the over in this one. Faced off one time before, and that was in Winston-Salem last year. Match went to a final set breaker, and Bergs won. So the one meeting in the careers did end in a deciding set. See that happening again here. Give me the over in this one. For the numbers, though, you have Opelka at around minus 150 or so. The line keeps dropping for Opelka. For Bergs, I see plus 125. For the spread, you have minus 1.5 for Opelka, plus 1.5 for Bergs. The over-under is at 24.5. You're looking at the set spread. Opelka in straight sets is around plus 164. Bergs in straight sets is plus 269. The over 2.5 sets is around plus 125. Give me the over on that. You either get 2 breakers, you get a 3-setter, a couple ways to get to the over. Give me the over in games for that one. For value, I'll go Bergs. I think Opelka should win. Bergs might be exhausted. But you know what? Opelka's off a very big win against Medvedev. Maybe he lets down mentally. The rally game is still not great. Bergs keeps winning tiebreaks somehow without actually serving that well. I think that Opelka is going to need to capitalize on the, I'd say, underwhelming first serve percentage of Bergs. If he can jump the second serves, he has a chance to win this in straight sets. But I question Opelka's willingness to actually go for a, I'd say, controlled chaos approach for returns, trying to go for the winners off of, once again, what could be weak second serves. I question Opelka's accuracy for that. So for that reason, I am going to go with the actual over for this matchup. Give me a fun, competitive battle. Maybe it goes 3, but I'm going to go with the, once again, over for that one for the second semifinal match in Den Bosch. Just going to wrap it up, though, for the preview. 4 matches. Time to move on into the Lock and Dog picks. For that, the reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, which is on your fantasy, because they're going on for the finals with their extended bonus. Hop in game 1. Longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. When you sign up, though, use code SGPN. They get a special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to 1K in bonus cash and fantasy. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, because you've heard us talk about Rhythm before. There's dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends, addictive patterns, where Rhythm's models have consistently won, have a high ROI. Power Trends are updated daily, exclusive to Rhythm. No towers and noise, just clean data back picks. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, start betting smarter. And a reminder, try it for free for a week by using the 7-day free trial. Go to sportsgambling.com/rhythm to try out the free trial. Sportsgambling.com/rhythm to get your 7-day free trial. We're also brought to you by MyBookie, because MyBookie is a plays every sport. They have the NBA Finals, they have the Stanley Cup, they have baseball, they have the US Open for golf. And a reminder, you do this on a ton of locations, use crypto for all his payouts. When you sign up, though, for your new account, use the code SGP. When you do so, you'll get a 100% match up to 1K. Terms and conditions, MyBookie, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through the semifinals in Stuttgart and Den Bosch. Time to move on into the Lock and Dog picks. For the lock, I'm going to go back to the last match in Den Bosch. Give me the over. 24.5 games, minus 115 between Bergs and Opelka. Each of Bergs' first 3 matches in the event have gone over this number, whether involved a 3-set marathon or potential straight set wins. We have seen Bergs in a ton of tie breaks, and he's been winning a lot of them. Point is, though, you've seen each of his matches go over. He's been a marathon guy. I think that might happen again here. 2 of Opelka's first 3 matches, though, have also gone over this number, whether it's in straight sets or not. Tiebreak magnet. He's a serve bot on grass. What more do you want from the guy? I see a lot of holds here, not many breakpoint chances, and I think you might end up getting a failsafe there if it goes to 3 sets, because you've seen a bunch of breakers here, which is worth mentioning. There's been a tiebreak, at least one, in 8 straight Opelka matches. There have been a tiebreak minimum in 4 straight Bergs matches. I like the tiebreak potentially 2 tiebreaks for a winner in straight sets. But they faced off last year, Winston-Salem, and that match also went over this number in 3 sets. Head-to-head's been close. Both guys have been having a lot of long matches. I see that happening again here. Give me the over 24.5 games is my lock at minus 115. For the dog, I'm going to go with the Fritz and Felix match. Give me the over 2.5 sets at plus 130. Each of the first 3 career meetings did not end in straight sets. Faced off late December on hard court, win 3 sets as well. Both players we know can be head cases, very streaky. I can see an up and down performance from both guys, where one guy looks good in the first set, then struggles in the second set, and you get a balancing act that results in a marathon. Kind of like what's happened in the head-to-head history there. But I see a close matchup here. Both guys have been great not dropping sets. Both guys can serve well. I think it might come down to the wire. Give me the over 2.5 sets as my dog for that one. So once again, the plays for the show, the lock's going to be on Bergs and Opelka. Over 24.5 games, minus 115. For the dog, I'm going to go with Felix and Fritz over 2.5 sets. I'll post on 30. Go back once again to get into the final in Stuttgart and Den Bosch tomorrow. Till next time, find me on Twitter at Reichel Radio. Good luck to all of you and all of your bets.